Test 1, 2. Sounds pretty good. 4 years ago. There you go. If you can take your seats, please. We're about to start. Welcome, everyone. Kisky families and friends, distinguished faculty and staff, and members of the class of 2022. Welcome to our Senior Awards program. This evening marks the beginning of our annual celebration of the senior class, and we are delighted to honor them for their numerous achievements and contributions to all that has made this school year a momentous one. At this time, I would like to introduce Andy Correa to the podium to introduce tonight's first speaker.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andy Correa. I have attended Kisky for only 2 out of my 4 years in high school. These 2 years have been equally challenging and rewarding. I couldn't be here last year because of the pandemic, and as soon as my dad told me I was going to be able to come back for my senior year and graduate here, I couldn't wait to be back. I am the 5th Correa in my family graduating from Kisky. My dad was the second one. He graduated in the class of 92, and he was invited to speak tonight. Let's put our hands together for my dad, Carlos Correa.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much for that nice introduction. Dear Kisky boys, colleagues, I could say, faculty members, friends, and families. Not long ago, I was sitting right here where you are, only 30. That is right. Just 30 years ago, I graduated from this great place. I went to Kisky for a total of 3 years of my life. Kisky was what I felt home away from home, what I learned to fall down and rise up again and keep trying until I achieved success, what I experienced good times, not so good ones, and definitely bad ones. But the overall experience was great and has been a tremendously positive influence in my life. Now that I'm talking about the experiences I had in Kisky, I have to tell you a story about a particular one. I was a waiter that week. It was towards the end of the year. I went in for my last day as a waiter. I was a senior. Back then, there was an unofficial race of which table would be first to finish their meal. And of course, finishing first had everything to do with the waiter's ability. Cutting corners, you could really speed up your service as a waiter. That day, we really wanted to win. All my friends at the table had that goal very clear. In order to save time, I decided to pile all my table's dirty dishes together and take them all back at the same time on my last trip to the kitchen. We had made it. We were the first table to stand up. However, the race was not finished until the waiter had returned all the dirty dishes and hung up the red waiter's coat we used to wear back then. As you can imagine, my large tray was loaded and as heavy as it could be. Oh my goodness. As my friends confident of the win were walking out of the dining hall, I was carrying my large loaded tray back to the kitchen just to claim the first place that day. I was not running because running was not allowed, but I was walking as fast as I could. The race was tight. However, I failed to notice that there was a little bit of spilled water on the floor. I slipped and went down hard with all my dirty dishes and my pride. The dishes and I went out flying and then crashed to the ground. It was so embarrassing for me, but it was very, very funny for everybody else. Obviously, our first place was gone. Nevertheless, I quickly stood up, picked up my dishes and my pride from the floor, cleaned up the mess, and kept moving for the rest of the day. As is true to all lessons learned at Kisky, if you fall down, just raise up as fast as you can. Despite this little bad experience I just shared with you, I would like to let you know that the majority of them were great ones. Without a doubt, I had a good time here at Kisky, and I enjoy my time with classmates, friends, coaches, and teachers. I made great memories that I will keep forever. At this time, I would like to thank all of my Kisky teachers, but especially my teachers and coaches that are present right now, still devoting their life to teaching and building young boys into great men. Thank you so much for your support, dedication, and for all your time. God gave me the opportunity to send my two sons, Carlos and Andy, to Kisky. Chatting with them about school, I realized that there have been many changes from the old days, but also I realized that many things are still the same. It is very understandable that the school needed to adapt to the new era, but at the same time, the Kisky essence needs to remain strong. The school and the great faculty members have had the knowledge to adapt to this changing world. And among all the other options of boarding in schools out there, Kisky still is a great option in this challenging world. With the Kisky essence in place, Kisky boys have made, are making, and will make a positive impact on society for years to come. For all you guys sitting out there, just as I was 30 years ago, I can assure you that your parents and you made a great decision to come to Kisky. At some point, I am sure you were homesick, you wanted to go back home, you wanted to give up, throw in the towel, chuck up the sponge, but somehow you managed to get it together and are sitting right here waiting for the great day, graduation day. Kisky boys, after tomorrow, once you are our Kisky, real life begins. Do not worry. The strong foundations that have been installed in you by your family's principles and by your experiences and knowledges gained at Kisky surely will lead you to success. Life is full of challenges and obstacles, choices and decisions. Making a good decision at the right time is the key of success. Do not be afraid of making a decision, but before making one, stop for a minute, think very well what all your options are, and then, only then, make that decision. You do not know if it will be the best decision, but certainly it will be the one you thought was the best. If it wasn't good enough, try something new, try again, just think harder, and now make a better decision. Tomorrow is a great day, as well as the last day. In a couple of months, you all will be attending college, and Kisky, which was your home away from home for these last years, will only be memories, good times, and a whole lot of good stories to tell over and over again. Farewell, my colleagues, farewell. Don't ever let a little bit of spilled water get in your way. And if you slip and fall down, quickly stand up and keep on going. I am sure you all will do great in life. And remember, you always will be a Kisky boy. Congratulations to all the 2022 class.
Thank you, Carlos. When I was a rookie teacher at Kisky, my second year in 1992, I was the dorm parent for a dorm called Wilson Hall, which maybe 10 years ago, thankfully, has been raised. It was in the place where the student center now is. And I lived in the first floor apartment. And in one of the rooms right above my apartment was one of my prefects, Carlos Correa. And it's so thrilling to see him back here now with his own boys, Kisky graduates. I feel like for old time's sake, Carlos, I should say to you tonight, just one more time, turn down your music. Thank you, Carlos, for everything you've done and your family's done for Kisky. I'm very pleased to introduce our faculty speaker tonight, a familiar face on campus. Mr. Muster came to Kisky in 1987, and for the 35 years that followed, he's filled many different roles, including Director of Technology, Chairman of the Math Department, varsity coach in football, wrestling, and baseball, and most of all, an advisor and mentor and friend to so many Kisky boys and colleagues. To all these roles, he's brought a unique combination of enthusiasm, optimism, and energy that's attracted others and inspired all of us to be better people. To say that his contributions to Kisky have been transformational would be very accurate. To say that we will miss him when he retires next month would be a big understatement. I'm very pleased to introduce this evening's speaker, Kisky legend, someone I'm proud to call my friend, Marcus Muster.
Thank you, Chris. Congratulations, seniors, and thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you this evening up on this stage. Seniors, I want you to think about the day that you first arrived at Kisky. Do you remember how you felt? Can you remember the emotions that you were feeling? Having witnessed 3 decades of first days on campus, I bet it went something like this. One late August afternoon, a young man shows up to Kisky for football preseason. He was nervous, but he loved football, and Kisky was giving him a chance to continue with a sport that he loved. He and some of his family and friends unloaded his car with the help from some players that had already moved in to a small room in Clark Hall, which, by the way, isn't here either, or still here either. With the help of those same football players and one very gruff-sounding teacher, he found his way to the athletic center. He attended his first meeting, then practice. He had his first Kisky meal in the dining hall, and then went back out for the second practice of the day. Those practices went okay, but this man didn't know anyone and was in a new environment with people he didn't know. Later that evening, afraid to ask for help, he got lost, trying to find his way from the basement of the dining hall to that large aluminum building where his room was. At the time, Kisky had very minimal lighting in the evening, and it was extremely dark. Alone on this wood campus, the young man was getting increasingly nervous. What had he gotten himself into? He only knew the head coach who recruited him to be there, but not one other player or coach on the team. He was out of his comfort zone, and for the first time in his life, he thought about giving up the dream of continuing with football. Blind fate got this young man back to the dorm. Not wanting to socialize, he made his way to his room. He didn't want to disappoint anyone, but he was questioning why he was here. He made up his mind that in the morning he would talk to the head coach and ask to leave. But something happened that next morning. Not being able to sleep in the oppressive humid heat of the dorm, this young man got up early and went for a walk. He saw how easy it was to get around campus now that he was actually paying attention, and it was light out. He decided to go to breakfast, went to the first practice, and began to talk to other campers. By the end of the second day, things started getting easier. Seniors, does this sound familiar to any of you? If you haven't figured it out yet, that young man was me, and that was my first day at Kisky Story. The Kisky Brotherhood took me in August of 1987. About 3 years ago, this magazine started showing up in our mailbox. It has 4 letters in its name, AARP. Now, those letters might not mean anything to you today, seniors, but when you get to be my age, you'll recognize the American Association of Retired Persons magazine. I was beside myself. This can't be for our mailbox. It must be a mistake. No, there was the name Muster right on the address label. Now, to be candid, Mrs. Muster is a little older than I am. So in my mind, the magazine must be for her, not for me. For about the last 2 years, however, every third or fourth time I'll pull my truck up to the ticket booth to take the ferry over to our cabin on Kelly's Island, the kid taking the money would ask, "Senior discount, sir?" The day I snapped back, "Maybe for her," pointing at an empty passenger seat because her wasn't there. I realized it was probably time to change my hair color on my driver's license officially to gray, or maybe distinguished. One of the best parts of the AARP magazine are the jokes that they have for older people. One of my favorites is a comic with two friends standing on the tee at a golf course. The gentleman that just hit the ball has turned to his friend and asked, "Did you see where my ball went?" And his partner replies, "Yes, but I can't remember." How many times, Mr. Ross and Mr. O, have I stood on the tee and said, "Did anybody see where the hell my ball went?" When Mr. B told me that I would be speaking at the Senior Awards Assembly, that's when it really hit me. I'm retiring. In a way, seniors, you are also retiring. You're retiring from high school and from Kisky, just like me. As soon as he left my office, I found myself immediately reflecting on the past 35 years. I know that tonight, many of you seniors will be reflecting on your time at Kisky too. I recalled riding one day with a very good friend of mine who used to teach at Kisky, Jeff Mandigo. Driving in my truck, we passed a business near the Latrobe Airport that had a sign out in front which read, "Luck is when preparation meets opportunity." As I stand here today, I feel so lucky to have found Kisky, and although I didn't know it at the time, all that I had been a part of for the first 22 years of my life was preparing me for this opportunity to work at an all-boys boarding school in rural Western Pennsylvania. So for me, from Preston Elementary to Sill Junior High, to Cuyahoga Falls High School, and finally Carnegie Mellon University, I was preparing for this opportunity. Trust me, if anybody would have ever asked me how I would earn a living, certainly landing at Kisky would not have been on my radar. For many of you seniors, I'll bet landing at Kisky wasn't on your radar either. But I think it's safe to say that we both have benefited from our time here. Seniors, Kisky has prepared each of you to go on and do great things. College is right around the corner, and you are about to experience true independence. That's exciting for you, but scary for your parents. That idea of total freedom makes me think of two of the most influential men in my life, my father and Mr. Pigeon. Seniors, you didn't know either of these two men, but they both have a direct connection to each of you through Kisky. My father was a fixture on the Kisky campus during the final 10 years of his life. He loved Kisky. He loved that I taught and coached here, but he really loved the golf course. My father was the definition of toughness. On his headstone, it reads, Leon H. Muster, an iron will. My father's love was tough love, but it was love. And although I didn't realize it all the time, I had that to fall back on. The way he carried himself and held my brother and me accountable for all that we did, I see that in myself every day. Seniors, never forget that you can fall back on your family's love. It's there even though you may not always see it. Mr. Pigeon was head of school at Kisky for 45 years. Back in the summer of 1987, he took a chance on a young, right out of school, with no teaching experience whatsoever, person to be an on-call driver, dorm supervisor, and football coach. The first day that I met Mr. Turley, then director of studies, I was told I would be teaching 4 sections of math, coaching 3 sports, along with living in the dorm and still being the on-call driver. By the way, he said, we'll pay you $1,000 instead of $850 a month. Mr. Pigeon had a way about himself that's hard to describe for those who never met him. He ruled with what appeared to be an iron fist, much like my father's iron will, but led with consistency, and although you didn't necessarily recognize it, with compassion. He would constantly tell the faculty, the reason that we hold our boys to such a high standard, even if they don't buy into it while they are here, is that they will have what we expected of them to fall back on later in life. Falling back on what you have been taught, what you have experienced, and what was expected of you, seniors, you have that from Kisky. So Mrs. Muster and I will be leaving at the same time as you seniors. We will forever have that in common with you. The life lessons we have both learned, you seniors and the two of us, from our classes, our sports, to the dorm, the van rides, have helped us all grow. We have all had mentors, friends, and family that have made our time unique to each of us here at the school. Mentors. Think about all the people that have helped to shape you, mold you, and guide you, seniors. Those mentors could have been coaches, teachers, dorm parents, prefects, family members, friends, staff, anyone here at the school. My mentors have been many here at Kisky. Coach Charles L. Klausing and his wife Joanne brought me to Kisky with them in 1987. Coach is in the College Football Hall of Fame, having compiled one of the most impressive winning percentages in college football history. I played for him and then worked for him. Chuck believed in me as a player, but he had much more influence on me as a person. I'm forever grateful to the Klausing family. The Yoders, the Shepherds, the McAtees, and the Lombardos, all of whom were so welcoming, took me in as a young bachelor, taught me what it meant to be a Kisky faculty member. The Muffleys, Debbie, Andy, Kelly, and Katie have been such a big part of our lives. Coach Muffley and I have a retirement idea. We want to write a book about all of our Kisky experiences. Mr. O, Mark Orsatti. Mr. O and I, if Mr. O and I had saved all of the money that we have spent together playing golf, money spent after golf, money spent playing poker, money spent after playing poker, we could have each retired 10 years ago. We did so much with each other in those early years that we used to tell people that we were twins, and our parents named us both Mark, one with a K and one with a C. You've always been there for me to help and guide me, and most importantly, introduce me to Mary Grace. Saying thank you doesn't do justice for the appreciation I have for our friendship. And then there's Mr. Bruningson. When we first started teaching together back in the 90s, we would check in on our students, get ready to teach the next day, and then go to each other's apartment and watch The Late Show with David Letterman and make homemade pizza. That's when The Late Show was after The Tonight Show at 12:30 in the morning. We went to The Letterman Show, somehow finding time to do so while at a math conference in New York City. That seems like forever ago, and it seems just like yesterday. I couldn't have asked to work for two greater mentors and heads of school than Mr. Pigeon and Mr. Bruningson. Chris, your leadership, guidance, and personality have made you the outstanding head of school that you are, but it's our friendship that I will continue to cherish and foster for years to come. These have been just a few of my mentors. Seniors, take time to think about your Kisky mentors. You've had many. I would humbly ask you that if you are so moved to, take time to thank them tomorrow after you graduate, or in a few years with a phone call, or an email, or just stop back to say hello. They will still be here for you, trust me. Friends, seniors, think about all the friends you have made while at Kisky for 1, 2, some of you 3, 4, or even maybe 5 years. Now think about how many I have had in 35 years. When people talk about the Kisky Brotherhood, about the lifelong friends that you make here, it's fact. To everyone, and I truly mean everyone, that I have ever worked with, thank you. I consider you all of my friends. You cannot work at the same place for the time that we have without having worked with some of the finest people on earth. You know, making friends isn't an exact science. Most of the time you make friends by gravitating towards people that you have common interests with. Sometimes you become friends with the people that you just end up spending so much time with, teammates, roommates, and classmates. And sometimes you become friends with the most unlikely of people for the most uncommon of common reasons. Seniors, think about that friend that you have made that you never would have been friends with if you hadn't come to Kisky. My brother from another mother, Joe Ross, and I have been at the school for a long time together, but it wasn't until recently that we became closer friends, having bonded over all things: barbecue, golf, comedy, and NASCAR. It turns out that after many years of working together, we had all of these not so common interests in common together. My next door neighbor, my assistant coach, my confidant, who to this day is still trying to teach me how to underreact, Vince Quietek. I will forever relish our conversations, Vince. Our Florida trips were epic, and sausage making at Brother Joe's was the best. I look forward to more of the same and maintaining our friendship for years to come. And then there's my friend, Jim Good. We came to Kisky the same year, 1987. We've worked together on so many projects. More importantly, I believe that we have shared the same values and mutual appreciation for what each of our departments do. Your forthrightness and willingness to tell it like it is unmistakable, as is your dedication and "we'll make it work, Marcus" mantra. That I will take with me forever. By the way, do you think we can still get the field ready one more time? It didn't rain that hard. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention two former coworkers who I still consider best of friends, Brian Chappie and Dr. Craig O'Leary. The three of us made a great team. In the words of Doc, the best team. Working with both of you was an honor and a privilege. I worked for over 2 decades with Mr. Chappie. 2 decades. You can't do that with someone unless you trust them, appreciate them, and respect them. I cannot thank you enough for your work, your support, and your friendship. You helped us leave the school in great shape with technology. In the words of one of our favorite country writers, Toby Keith, you made me look better than I ever was. Thank you both. So like you seniors, I'm leaving Kisky with many great friends. That will continue to last a lifetime. You may go a few years without seeing or hearing from your Kisky brothers and friends. But trust me, the minute you pick up the phone, see each other at reunion, send each other a text, run into each other by coincidence, connect via social media, it'll be like you never missed a beat. Again, it's fact. And finally, family. In my first year in those early years, then the middle years, and now the final years of my career, there's been a Kisky family that's been more than just friends. Mr. and Mrs. Buren not only helped to mentor me, guide me, and take me on as their third wheel, at times, they even saved me from myself. And now 35 years later, we are still best of friends. No, we're family. That will never change. It hasn't for all of these years, and it won't change now. Mary Grace and I love you both along with your children and look forward to many family reunions in Pittsburgh at Minio's, not Vincent's. Zachary and Mary Vallejos. The dormitory Vallejos Hall that some of you seniors have lived in here at Kisky was named after my father-in-law, Mr. Vallejos. He taught here for 41 years. Zach and Mary allowed me to live into their lives when I married Mary Grace, their oldest daughter. They taught me how to lead by example. Some of the greatest life lessons I have learned came from these 2 Kisky icons. Mary, I love you. Lastly, I'm lucky enough to be leaving with my life partner, my heart and soul, my best friend, my wife, Mary Grace, who, through my friendship with Mr. O and Kisky, I met on a golf course in North Carolina. We will be celebrating our 30th anniversary in a few months. Our children, Danielle and Zachary, were born and raised here and will forever think of Kisky, as you seniors now will too, as home. Seniors, please do me a favor. I want you to thank your family. Thank them for being supportive, for giving you this opportunity, for being there for you no matter what. I personally could not have asked more from my Kisky family these past 35 years. So was I really lucky to find Kisky, or was it that I was prepared and took advantage of an opportunity? As someone who likes to go to the casino, I do know that there is something to Lady Luck. But when it comes to your future, class of 2022, you won't need any luck. You are prepared to take advantage of the opportunities that the world has to offer, thanks in part to the many mentors, friends, and family you've had in your life. Imagine how many speeches I've heard in my time at Kisky. I've always noticed that these speeches end with a thoughtful, poignant quote from some famous author, poet, academic pillar of society. Well, anyone who really knows me knows that I'm a metalhead from the 80s. Seniors, I will leave you with a few lyrics from one of my favorite bands, Triumph. These words have helped me many times in my life. From the song, Fight the Good Fight. All your life, you've been waiting for your chance, where you will fit into the plan. But you're the master of your own destiny, so give and take the best that you can. And from the song, Never Surrender, keep your dreams alive, never surrender, hold your head up high. Fight the good fight, seniors, and never surrender. Congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. That was a wonderful speech. Tonight's academic award recipients have been chosen by the faculty. We are proud to recognize these students for their dedication to scholastic achievement. Gentlemen, as I call your name, please enter the stage to my left, pause for a photograph with Mr. Moriarty as you accept your award, and then continue to my right as you return to your seat. So the first award, the Zachary J. Vallejos Award in History, goes to Charles Manuel Sanchez. The John A. Lombardo World Languages Award goes to Timothy Allshouse. The Carl L. Arnold Award in Mathematics goes to Rahards Paradnieks. Rahards, why don't you stay up here for a second? The Eugene L. Biddle Award for Excellence in Science goes to Rahards Paradnieks. The Joseph H. Millar Award in English goes to Bob Burr. The Excellence in Fine Arts Award goes to Xianzhong Bao. The Outstanding Achievement in Digital Media Award goes to Spencer Hashiguchi. The Music Award goes to Timothy Allshouse. The Photography Award goes to Jung Young Jo. The Board's Improvement Award is given to a member of the senior class who has shown marked improvement throughout the year in academics, athletics, and extracurricular activities. I'm pleased to present this award to Omer Shahar. The Invention Land Institute Certificate of Excellence is given to those students that exemplify the highest levels of innovation and engineering in the creation, design, and marketing of an original problem-solving invention. This year's recipient is recognized for his invention of, quote, the improved interconnected riot shield, a shatter-resistant, lightweight, and highly maneuverable shield that provides better safety for law enforcement and military personnel. The Invention Land judges commend the exceptional engineering of the product sample and professional presentation. The trophy is on display in the Student Center. Congratulations to this year's Invention Land winner, Spencer Sable. The Bob Williams Memorial Rotary Scholarship Program provides scholarships to deserving youth and funds many local and international Rotary Foundation scholarships, ensuring that his legacy of gentleness, fairness, compassion, and the privileged art of giving will continually be bridged to future generations. We are lucky to have a representative from the Williams Scholarship Committee here to present the award. Mr. Robert Arbuckle chairs the Williams Scholarship Committee. Please welcome him to the stage.
Just an aside, about 40 years ago, I was at Kisky to give the commencement address when Mr. Pigeon was the headmaster. And I walked around the campus before I came, and it's changed pretty much in 40 years, but it always has that Kisky spirit, that's for sure. And Russ Swank, who I assume endowed the Student Center, was an old friend of mine. And so this is a special place. Also, one other final anecdote. Captain Norman F. Stein, U.S. Navy submarine commander, was a graduate of Kisky, and he is my close personal friend. He's now 94 years old and still as spry as ever. So I have a special place in my heart for Kisky. But I'm here representing the Bob Williams Memorial Rotary Scholarship Program. Bob Williams was a friend of mine. He was one of the super lawyers of Pennsylvania and was designated as a super lawyer of the United States of America. He had to work his way through college, and he wanted to provide opportunities for other students like him to realize his dream. So before his untimely death, he called some of us to his house, and he said he wanted to endow a scholarship to help students succeed. He wanted to help students that didn't have a silver spoon or a gold spoon, but they had a dream and they had ambition. And so we established this scholarship in his name before he passed away. To date, we have awarded 76 scholarships from students in the greater Pittsburgh area, totaling almost $500,000. This year, we gave 8 scholarships of $5,000 each to students from throughout the greater Pittsburgh area. We had 23 high schools represented in the applicant pool. And for the first time, we had an applicant from the Kisky School. And as it would have it, we awarded one of those scholarships to this student. This student is Kisky's own Timothy Allshouse. We had an awards ceremony of our own on May the 14th at the Edgewood Country Club. And we had all 8 of the student recipients there and their families. It was a special night for we in Rotary and we who helped with this scholarship. And it was especially great to see the recipients get to meet each other and their families. And it was a special morning for all of us. As some of you know, he has a great record here at Kisky School. In addition to his outstanding academic achievement of a 4.0 grade point average, I think, Tim, you're involved in just about everything here at Kisky School. And our criteria involves not just academics, but what kind of service did this student give to his school or her school and to the community? And Tim has excelled in all of those areas. So he plans on attending Bucknell University and major in mechanical engineering, and I'm sure he's going to knock their socks off when he gets to Bucknell. So I have a plaque I'm going to give him, and a $5,000 check will be sent to Bucknell University in his name.
It is now my pleasure to present the Good Citizenship Award issued by the Office of State Senator Joe Pittman of Pennsylvania to 2 deserving students. Recipients of this award should exemplify the qualities of outstanding character and leadership. By recognizing these students, we will be encouraging them to continue to develop the fine qualities they already possess. Please congratulate Noah Bull and Timothy Allshouse as recipients of the Good Citizenship Award. We would now like to introduce one of our former parents who is here to give out an award in his son's name. Dr. Kennedy received his Bachelor of Arts degree in Banking Finance from Morehouse College in Atlanta, his Master of Divinity degree from Emory University, Chandler School of Theology in Atlanta, Georgia, and his Doctor of Ministry degree from the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology at Virginia University in Richmond, Virginia. In February 2010, Dr. Kennedy accepted the call to pastor Rodman Street Missionary Baptist Church in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He enjoys facilitating workshops on leadership development, male empowerment, marriage and family enrichment, and youth enhancement. Please welcome Dr. Kennedy.
There's a poem entitled God's Minute. It says, I only have just a minute. There's only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon me. I didn't seek it. I didn't choose it. I must use it. I suffer if I lose it, give an account if I abuse it. It's a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. 9 years ago, I sat where these parents are sitting right now. 9 years ago, my son, Major Kennedy, sat where the students are sitting right now. And 9 years later, he is reaching back to give back to his alma mater. I remember we moved to Pittsburgh in 2010. We heard about a school by the name of Kisky. And I remember coming out here on December 31 of 2009. Nobody was on the campus, it was just a few. And there was a sign that says, Kisky welcomes Major Kennedy. My wife began to cry. I say, we haven't even accepted anything. And she began to cry. Oh, my baby's gonna be away from us. But over the next 3 years, we saw Major grow into the fullness of his potential at that time. After graduating here at Kisky, went to Drexel University and was able to play basketball and able to chase some of his dreams. But a few months ago, Major contacted us and said he wanted to pay it forward. He wanted to give back to his alma mater, want to give back to other young men who are following in his footsteps and young women. So today I am honored to recognize and give the first Kennedy Scholar Athlete Award to benefit a graduating senior following in Major's footsteps, to pay forward the impactful assistance that he received here at Kisky and others a part of our village. The awardee will receive financial assistance during each of the next 8 semesters, as well as professional guidance and mentorship from Major and others in his professional group. I am pleased to present the first ever Kennedy Scholar Athlete Award to Mr. Jordan Graham.
This year, Kisky's proud tradition of sending young men to the United States Naval Academy continues with this young man. Shane Goodson, please come to the stage. Shane Goodson has committed himself selfishly to serving our nation. Kisky has a long tradition with the United States Naval Academy Foundation. Currently, there are more Kisky graduates enrolled at the Naval Academy Annapolis than any other high school in the country. The admission and academic offices at Kisky partner with the foundation to craft a curriculum that will prepare our candidates for the Naval Academy for the rigors they will encounter once they matriculate to Annapolis. We are proud to continue that long line again this year by recognizing this young man with his appointment to the United States Naval Academy at Annapolis. Congratulations on all your accomplishments, and we look forward to hearing from you about your new challenges and adventures in your very bright future. The Fund for Advancement of Minorities Through Education's FAME mission is to educate, empower, and embolden African-American youth to become student ambassadors of today and leaders of tomorrow and stewards of their communities by providing access to college preparatory education at participating independent schools in the greater Pittsburgh area through the provision of need-based financial aid assistance. Since 2010, the Kisky School has partnered with FAME to provide these students with rigorous academic and boarding experience coupled with an impactful series of enrichment opportunities, including college tours, internships, and community service. Please join me in congratulating our FAME scholars, Amani Clark Bay and Jordan Graham. I'd like to now introduce our head of school, Mr. Bruningson.
I'm very honored to recognize the following students for their good work and outstanding achievements. The Harry Stool Dryer Award is given in memory of Harry Stool Dryer, class of 1920, to that member of the senior class who's made an outstanding contribution to the school's athletic program. I'm pleased to present this award to Chris Moncrief. The William H. McKillop Award is presented to a member of the graduating class who, in the opinion of the faculty, has at all times displayed chivalrous conduct on the athletic field. This year's winner, Amani Clark Bay. The E.W. Turley Jr. Award is given in loving memory of William Turley, class of 1964, to a member of the senior class who most closely embodies the qualities of gentleness, propriety, and concern for others that so personified Bill Turley. This year's recipient is Jordan Graham. The Jacob E. Ziegler Award is presented to a member of the senior class who, in the opinion of the faculty, has contributed the most cheer to the school year. Pleased to present this award to Noah Bowl. The Russell C. Swank Jr. Award is given in memory of Russ Swank Jr., class of 1942, to a member of the senior class whose optimistic outlook and positive school spirit has had a beneficial impact on his classmates and on our school. I'm pleased to present this award to Manuel Perez Noah. The Kisky International Award is presented to an international student who's a member of the senior class and who has made significant contributions to the Kisky school community through his proven leadership and active participation in organizations and extracurricular activities. This year's recipient is Young Joe. The Bates Award is given in memory of William Palmer Bates, class of 1929, killed in service to his country in 1945. It is awarded to a member of the senior class who most exemplifies the qualities of honor, sacrifice, and concern for others through dedication to his school and his country. I'm proud to present the Bates Award to Preston Aldridge. The William V. Greer Award is presented in memory of William Greer, class of 1914, to a member of the senior class who's compiled the highest scholastic average. Please join me in congratulating the valedictorian of the class of 2022, Tim Allshouse. The Faculty Appreciation Award is presented in recognition of the qualities of citizenship and personal responsibility that have made the lives and duties of the faculty worthwhile and rewarding. I'm pleased to present this award to Sebastian Valdez Batista and Nico Marchitelli. The Andrew W. Wilson Award is presented in memory of Kisky's first headmaster to a member of the senior class who best exemplifies the principles on which Dr. Wilson's beloved school was founded: faith, humility, and tolerance. This year, the award is presented to Robert Burr. The John A. Pigeon Award is presented to a member of the graduating class who, in the opinion of the faculty and the head of school, and through exemplary accomplishments, dedicated leadership, and uncompromising habits of mind and heart embodies the admirable qualities and high standards of Mr. John Pigeon, who served Kisky as teacher, coach, and headmaster for 45 years. I'm proud to present this award to Tim Alshouse. The Kisky Award is presented to a member of the graduating class who, in the opinion of the faculty and the head of school, through his scholastic achievement, leadership, breadth of interest, and high personal standards, has been of great value to the school. It's an honor to present this award to Alex Figueroa. Alex very carefully put hand sanitizer on his left hand and shook my hand with his right hand. Give that award back, please. Alshouse was in my math class this year, and for the past few weeks, almost every day, I've been telling him that I'm going to steal his valedictorian address and give it as my own remarks tonight. And he would say, "You're kidding, right, Mr. B?" And then we all know how earnest Tim is. Then he'd turn to the person sitting next to him and say, "He's kidding, right?" I actually got a copy of your speech and I was going to start reading it and have somebody else take a picture and have the defibrillators waiting. But I chickened out at the last minute. We're looking forward to your remarks tomorrow. Well, the high school experience that all of you have had has been largely shaped and influenced by the global pandemic. You've had time away from teachers and classmates during periods of remote learning, and for most of you, taking classes online was not a positive educational experience, but you navigated through 2.5 challenging years, and you've done so successfully and well. For those of you who've been at Kisky for multiple years, you utilized the lessons of self-reliance you learned here, and most of all, you leaned on each other and on the reliable friendships you formed. Even though there have been periods of loneliness and isolation, in the end, the pandemic has brought us all closer together. And the resulting message is an important one. In times of trouble, you can always turn to your Kisky family for help and support. Now, I could certainly build a whole speech around lessons learned during the pandemic, but instead, to underscore that for the first time in 2 years, we're engaged in a collection of normal graduation activities without masks and quarantines and social distancing, I'll focus on a broader theme, lessons learned in life. I solicited the help of my colleagues in this endeavor and asked the faculty and staff a few weeks ago for some great advice that I could share with the senior class. But I didn't ask them for words of wisdom from them to you. I asked them to respond to the question, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received? I'm hoping that the response I'm going to share will resonate and be memorable, since they're coming from your teachers and coaches and dorm parents and advisors, people you know and respect. I received dozens of replies and tried to include as many voices as I could. Some of the offerings weren't especially relevant to high school seniors, like Mr. Orsati's advice, never trust a school administrator. I'd like to thank Mr. O for volunteering to chaperone all of the off-campus dances next year. So I've organized these pieces of advice into 3 categories. The first one is do it right. It's well stated in a reply I received from Mr. Buren, don't be number 2. He shared this piece of advice that he got when he was a young teacher at Kisky from the head wrestling coach, Mike Brown, who used to say, there are 2 kinds of people in the world. 1, those who get the job done, And 2, those who make excuses. Don't be number 2. Mr. Buren said it's a theme that his dad always reinforced. Always do your very best and give 100% no matter what you're doing. Hard work, effort, and perseverance aren't things you turn on and off. They need to be part of you all the time. For Mrs. Kapustik, play big or stay at home. She said, my fathers and uncles say this all the time, and it's become a standard in my family. Initially, the saying related to card games, but it's grown to encompass all aspects of my life. If it's something worth doing, it's worth doing well. In my teaching, my relationships, my social activities, my reading, I play big, I do the best I can, and give it my all. Along those same lines, Mr. Spahn shared some advice from his college lacrosse coach. He said, Coach was very angry at practice the day before we were going to be playing the number 3 team in the country. And he told us, you can stay on the porch with the puppies or run with the big dogs. Meaning, do you want to compete against the best and measure your skills against theirs? Or do you want to settle and not push yourself to the limits of achievement and sacrifice and dedication? Life is much more rewarding when you're out of your comfort zone and challenging yourself on a daily basis. Anyone who's played for Coach Spahn knows that he lives by this philosophy. And yet there's something very sweet about the thought of Spahn sitting on a porch with a bunch of little puppies jumping all over him and licking his face while he's screaming at them, you're not cute and your stick skills are pathetic. The second theme that emerged in the submissions was know yourself. Understand your strengths and your limitations. From Miss Ackworth, a quote from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, the talent of success is nothing more than doing what you can do well and doing well whatever you can do. You may not know this, but Miss Ackworth and I worked together at a school in Buffalo, New York, and we came to Kisky together 20 years ago when she had Mrs. Henderson's job. When she first started at Kisky, she found a card on her desk to Mr. Pigeon, former headmaster, and it had that Longfellow quote on it. She said she was really wondering what the heck she'd gotten herself into by moving to Salzburg and taking this new job, and reading that quote was very comforting. 20 years later, she's still wondering what she got herself into, but we're all very thankful for the great work that she's done over the past 2 decades. Thank you, Sandy. From Mr. Scott, attributed to his, quote, spiritual mentor, if the only tool you have in your toolbox is a hammer, then everything is a nail. Don't always rely on the most comfortable way to solve a problem. Look for new solutions. Try different ways of thinking about things when you face a challenge. The third and final theme is be kind, which is well captured in a response I received from Mrs. Muster. Her mother, Mrs. Vallejos, who as Mr. Muster mentioned, was a Kisky icon, a music teacher here for many, many years. She was fond of reminding her of the old adage, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Mrs. Ugoletti offered some similar advice, something her grandfather always told her. You don't have to be sorry for something you didn't say. If we're not in the right frame of mind, sometimes we find ourselves wishing we could take back what we said, and when we're feeling negative or judgmental. Mrs. Ugoletti said her grandfather passed away when she was just 8 years old, yet she still remembers him giving her that advice. Mr. Vince Kwiatek offered some advice when you're dealing with somebody whose approach to life isn't driven by a be kind philosophy. He was working in his dad's fabrication shop as a teenager, and a foreman who had a loud, abrasive personality was yelling at him for a mistake he made. After the verbal abuse ended, an older worker came over and said, Vince, that's why you have 2 ears, so it can go in one and out the other. Do it right, know yourself, be kind. That's our collective advice for the class of 2022. It's no secret that our faculty has a great deal of affection for this group of seniors. You're a special bunch, and saying goodbye to you tomorrow is going to be very difficult. Your teachers and coaches and mentors, those you've encountered on this campus, we've all done our best to prepare you for the challenges you'll encounter in the future. When you leave campus tomorrow, you'll be carrying more than a diploma. You'll be taking with you the capacity to lead, to be someone who can make a difference in the world. I know you'll be faithful to the important principles and values you've learned and practiced here, and I know you'll make us all very, very proud. Good luck, and God bless all of you.
Much of tonight recognized the good and hard work and accomplishments from your time at Kisky, class of 2022. At this point, I would like for you to think briefly about your future. I would like to introduce Steve Solagi, Associate Head of School for Institutional Advancement, to the stage. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everybody, and congratulations to all the parents and supporters and our seniors. I'm very honored to be here this evening to publicly announce our new class captains, and I ask one favor of you: please hold your applause till we have them all up here on the stage. It is my honor and pleasure to inform you that the following Kisky seniors have been elected to serve as class captains for the class of 2022. Would the following young men please approach the stage? Preston Aldridge, Tim Alshouse, Bobby Burr, Nick DeLauro, Alex Figueroa, Jordan Graham, Caleb Leachock, Sebastian Valdez Batista, Jonathan Van Nostrand, Jack Zhao. This accomplished and very special group of Kisky boys will work diligently and directly with their classmates to keep them well connected to Kisky, as well as to the goals and mission of the school's Institutional Advancement Office. Serving as a class captain is a very important and consequential role for a Kisky graduate. They understand this. To be sure, we are happy that this group of Kisky boys has agreed to work with us and to dedicate much of their time, their talent, and their passion to Kisky and our advancement efforts, designed and implemented to keep Kisky strong, growing, and vibrant for many, many years to come. Tomorrow, the class of 2022 will officially join the Kisky alumni community, and these class captains will help their entire class to fully integrate into the powerful national and international networks of Kisky alumni for their personal benefit and for the greater good of Kisky as well. This evening, I will be handing a very special class captain lapel pin to each new class captain. This pin is a small but very important token of the school's appreciation for and a celebration of each class captain's services that will be forever dedicated to Kisky and to the school's important educational mission. These lapel pins are presented to the class captains from the Office of Advancement and from the Kisky School. Let me hand these out right now. Now, please join me acknowledging and thanking and celebrating this strong and very special group of class leaders for all of their accomplishments and for their loyalty, dedication, and service to their classmates, to the advancement team, and to the Kisky School. Congratulations, gentlemen. And since we, guys, since we have such a large group, I'm going to ask that you come before Becky in front here. Okay, so let's go do that now. Thank you. Congrats, guys. Thank you all.
Well, thank you for joining us. This basically concludes our evening. Let me just go over some what's going on, some housekeeping things of what's going on tonight and tomorrow. Right after we conclude here, you're welcome to head over there for some dessert. Seniors, later on in the evening, please join everyone behind the Student Center for a bonfire, some food, hanging out with your friends, taking pictures. Faculty would join us. It'll be a great time. Tomorrow morning, seniors, as you know, your first commitment's at 9 o'clock in the Student Center for breakfast with Mr. Bruningston and myself and a few others. There you'll receive your Kisky graduation tie. So please show up in a clean white shirt, navy blue blazer, and gray pants, and you'll receive your tie at breakfast. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to spending the rest of the evening with you and tomorrow as well. Thank you.